Blessings upon blessings. Come on in and do share. Come on in and do share. We are here on day 70. We are on day 70 of this 100 days, y'all. We've been going strong 70 days. We've been here with you every single evening or daytime. And I'm so happy to have the opportunity to be present. And I pray that you have been receiving. You have so many that you could go back and watch and listen to. Come on in, do share. I want to send a great big old thank you out to all of the Love Walk partners. Y'all are really, you're here for it, and I'm grateful. If you are not a Love Walk partner yet, then that means you probably um, either have a thing about partnering with ministries and things like that, and prayerfully over time, you'll get the understanding that you need so that you're able to make an informed and inspired decision. But for those of you who have decided to be in fellowship with us, to be partnering with us because you believe in the vision, I am so happy. Thank you. God bless you. Blessings, blessings, destiny. Y'all come on in and do share. Thank you to all of those who have been sharing the broadcast. Blessings, blessings, destiny, blessings, Rashida. Blessings to all of you who have been sharing the broadcast and who has been blessed. Yeah. It is March the 3rd. March the 3rd. So for those of you who um, need to know a number, you need to sow a seed. You feel like there's something that you need to sow for, something needs to grow. Try a $33 seed or a $330 seed or more. You can add as many zeros as you want to, but start there. We're going to talk a little bit tonight about what that represents as I release the prophetic word. And this is for those who intentionally sow. You understand what it means. Soon as we as I speak on how things are going to flow after this 100 days, we will have something that we can put up where you'll know where to sow into the vessel and then the ministry for those of you who like to do it differently, and keep everything separate. But we're getting ready. We're getting ready. We're getting ready to go to new heights. We are going to be planning um, a Love Walk Outreach Global Assembly. I will call it a crusade of sort to begin to really live out this love walk before people and to stand strong in what we believe in this space. You know, you could come in, learn some things, but also this is a space where we come in to be on one accord because we believe in the message of love, and we believe that love covers. We believe that God is love. So therefore, Everything else that comes out of that is according to our faith. Um, I mean, you have to believe that love is law as well. I'm assuming that would be your faith, but we're just here to get some understanding into, like, you almost walk in the door and say, you know what, here's my heart, Lord. Show me what's there. Show me what I can do to be transformed and renewed in my mind about how to walk this walk and live this life with people. He was showing me something the other day about the ministry and how many of my even coaching clients will come out of this space because I'm we're doing this love walk approach. We're going to start teaching it as a curriculum. We're going to start teaching it. And for many, once you start realizing what's in your heart, you want to do some work on that. And so many of you will transition literally or be double in this, where you're learning the teachings and we're guiding along the way to the best of our ability. And you're also going to be saying, hey, that right there, I know that's in my heart. I know I'm still holding that unforgiveness. I know I'm still feeling broken. I know I'm still feeling like this. And I know that it causes me to act out with other people. And I really want to make some changes in my life. You'll literally go right into it, ladies, go right into our coaching programs so that you can actually do that work. Blessings, Jayana, blessings upon blessings. And so we're gonna just be getting into some things, and I'm gonna share some things with you. And prayerfully, if you find value here, you have no problem with becoming a partner with us, that we can make some of these things happen, so that we can begin to travel and take it on the road. Um, if you want to be a sponsor for one of the Love Walk Crusades and you're willing to be a sponsor, and what does that mean? It means that you're willing to host us at a location. That's your seed into the vision. I believe the having the location, and then just giving us a space to come and to share and to invite others to come in to share. And so we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to planning this process out, so we can have something where we can touch you, where we can hug you, embrace you, and we will do some virtually as well. But we want to be able to hit your city and your state. For those of you who are already looking for coaching, looking for to put your group together and say, hey, ladies, do we want to come together and invite? Um, then do so. Plan for that so we can put your date on the calendar. But we're here for it. Tonight we are live on our Love Walk Outreach Global pages. That's on Facebook and on YouTube. And we are also on our Facebook page, Inspirational Treasure page as well. And tonight we are praying for the weary. We are praying for the weary. We are flowing for the weary. We are flowing for the weary. We are praying for the weary. The word weary means, according to Google, according to Bing, feeling or showing tiredness, especially as a result of an excessive exertion or lack of sleep. Reluctant to see or experience any more of. You're just tired of. Calling for a great amount of energy or endurance because you're tired and it's tedious. To grow weary with, or to grow tired of, or bored with. To be weary. The question today is, do you feel weary with the day-to-day activities? Is your mind jumbled and feeling weary? Some people are being weary, and they're weary in their process of development and growth. Some are just simply tired of the process of growth. There's someone used to say, restore to me the joy of my salvation, right? And in that context, it was talking about the journey itself to trying to adhere to the religious practices or to the narrative of what salvation really meant to them. It becomes wearying because people are trying to figure it out in a logical manner. And a lot of times, when you're trying to figure it out in a logical manner alone, meaning that you're just trying to make sense of it through learning and teachings and things like that, it makes it very difficult for you not to get weary. Because your mind gets really weary because you're trying to think of how to make it make sense. Well, there are those of us who choose to, to experience things from a completely spiritual perspective or a unseen perspective, just experience, uh, not in a physical form in a sense. But even they get weary because the principles spiritually, you've been living in them, you've been working them, doing the best that you can. You've been praying, you've been studying the scriptures, you've been doing all of the things that you are told to do. And again, you feel weary because of it. I've been showing love. I've been trying to do right by people, and it seems like people keep doing these things to me. You've been feeling weary. Jayon, I see your seed, and I bless it now. I ask that God would increase you and overflow you, but more than that, that He would give you clarity as to how you can increase and overflow. That you may be able to work your system, work your program, and it works for you. I do see you doing the work on yourself, and as you do the work on yourself, you're also going to be able to teach that to the parents of the autistic children as well. How to find the balance in the family dynamic, and how not to be weary but to be joyful and happy every single day you wake up, knowing that you are about to parent some really amazing children and wife a really amazing husband. You are adequate, and you're going to show yourself just how adequate you are. You're going to get it all together, and you're going to be able to teach it to another. And it is so. And it is so. My soul. Mm, mm. You're going to see progress. You're going to see progress where you haven't before, because you're going to stop, you're going to pause, you're going to be still and know. You're going to write, you're going to get everything jotted down, you're going to put everything in the plan for you. It's going to be all right. Watch and see. Yeah, you had to get yours in early. Let me check for that, because I want to be able to speak to you, Rashida, based on what you've given. Oh, mama, so weariness, weariness, weariness. Some of you are weary with your businesses and your ministries. I think I begin to find myself in that space a little bit, where I begin to feel weary a little bit with ministry, and not ministering to the individuals, but the process of ministry. I got you. I got you, Rashida. I got you. I got you. I got you. Very pointed tonight, and so I get the flow. I'm gonna flow with you in just a second. And I will say this, Rashida, before I even move forward, it was intentional, so very intentional for you to put that seed in the ground tonight. Because there's some doors that are about to open up for you within the next few weeks, and you need some type of grounding and instructions. And I believe that this message tonight is going to be a part of what helps to guide you and to keep you centered. Woo! Girl, you got some good things coming. Hallelujah. But not the process of the people, because here's the thing, and it can feel like the people, and I want to explain that what I mean. my adversary, the adversary in my life, will have to come up against me in the areas that I value the most. Right? The areas that I value the most, the things that I feel the most purpose to do and be in, my marriage, as a mom to my children, right? Spiritual mother, godmother, bonus mother, all of that. Those, I lump all of those with my children because I value it. I value it. I have friends from my children that call me Ma or Ma Dukes or whatever. I value them. And the adversary will send or try to send something that makes me not value that anymore. Not the people itself, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against those things that are behind it. We're wrestling against spiritual things, spiritually unresolved things, spiritually darkened people, people who are not free, people who are not liberated within their spirit. Remember, spirit holistically speaking, we're talking about spiritual liberation through the soul's healing. And so when we are trying to get to spiritual liberation, your soul is challenged. That's the area of your thinker and your chooser and your feeler, your imagination, your hope. That's your heart and your mind, right? Your thinker is the mind or the brain, the mind, the heart, the imagination, the hope. All of those things are threatened. Your entire shalom, everything, your safety, your well-being, all of those things get threatened. You get the conversation of the adversary to try to tempt you in the area that you want to or feel the need to devote yourself to. Many of you are feeling weary in your marriages or relationships. You're feeling weary in parenting. You're feeling weary in your self discovery. Some of you have so many masks that you wear that you're tired. Your arms are tired of pulling things down, just pulling the mask off. You're weary from just trying to unmask. You're overloaded. Some of you are just simply weary with the amount of things that you are carrying around on your shoulders and in your heart, on your back. Things that you are holding that no longer serve you, and you're still holding on to them. Many of you have heard the testimony about my hair, 15 years, but locks, you don't shed hair. Very little, if at the tips, and I had never cut my hair. Most of my tips were still original. Out of all the 15 years, I may have lost a few pieces on the end because it was too loose or something, but it was all everything, accumulation of everything over 15 years, where there was a physical a physical aspect of that, and there was a spiritual aspect to that. The physical aspect was that my head was starting to hurt, so that means that the particles were being pulled because my hair was so heavy. Now simply imagine washing my hair. So the water is going to weight it down some more, make it really, really heavy. And I had done my own hair most of my 15 years. I think I counted 10, maybe 10 times, if that I've ever allowed anyone else to do my hair. So imagine the weight of just washing it. Not laying back in one of those amazing wash bowls. I love it. I love going to get my hair washed. I love the scalp treatment. Even with short hair, I think I'm going to go ahead and handle that. But the weight of all the accumulated dead hair. You wash your hair, you can wash out some of the dirt and debris, but when you're retwisting or you're interlocking or whatever it is that we're doing, we don't lose hair. It just all comes together, becomes heavy. So my head began to hurt. My neck began to feel the weight of it. So my head and my neck were getting weary. The spiritual aspect of that, again, is not only was I carrying around the dead hair, but carrying around everything, every energy over the past 15 years that has impacted my life in some way, from the grief to the pain and the sorrow, from the relationships that were ripped apart. things that had to happen in order to get me to this place. But the emotions behind it, spiritually, the emotions behind it probably was taking a toll that I didn't even know they were taking. Now, all of a sudden, your steps get a little bit heavier. And, dealing with depression and living in depression my whole life, I understand what lead feet feel like. So, on this side of things, when I began to drag again, I knew that something needed to shift and change. That weariness and the temptation and being led into this wilderness to be tempted. So my heart wants to be there and to pour into and all the different things that happen. And here comes the adversary to test those things, because you say this is what you want to do. When Jesus got tempted, it was because he said there was things that he agreed to. When he started studying to show himself approved, and when he got baptized and all these things, he studied these things. He knew what to do. He applied these things, and yet he was dealing with mob squads and things all over the place. So even before going into ministry, even before going into traveling and healing the sick and all those different things, now his time had finally come, and he needed to be tempted in order to know whether he could really do it. Are you so weary that you're gonna faint and leave out of here, or do you just need some strength and you're ready to move forward? Yeah, it does. It does, Jayana. And now here are some more questions. In your weariness, if you know there are things that you need to unload, why won't you? Why can't you? Is it because you don't want to disappoint others? I know that was a big part of why I couldn't unload some things, why I could not just easily just give up everything I've ever known, and actually have to speak it out loud before the people. I've been inching up to it over the years. There's always a certain narrative that I'm talking. I've been talking love forever since any of you have known me. But it was a step further that I had to take. Being able to boldly stand in the face of others and declare that God is all things and no one's exempt. And nothing that exists is exempt. I'm not just worshiping a God that's afar off, but worshiping the God that is omnipresent. Having to say, like, hey, this is not to defame the name, but the nature is what we're supposed to be more focused on. To have to say that out loud so that people can finally begin to think with the mind of Christ and change their lives, be transformed by the renewing of their mind. Yeah, when your mind is renewed and you take on the Christ mind, now you have a new mind, aka born again, aka understanding that you can be free and rescued and saved from whatever it is that you need to be rescued from, because you understand now that I live according to faith. I don't have to be driven to think like other people or to do what everybody else is doing or to follow the program that everybody else is following, not because I don't love them, but because I do. I love them enough not to be fake and phony with them. I love them enough not to ill fit myself into a situation. No, I find where I fit. I live this authentic life. And listen, there's just a lot of weariness that goes along with all of this awakening. But for me, I had to decide. And once you make a decision, yes, you go into a time where you really, hey, are you really ready for this? Do you really want to do this? Yes, weary from carrying the weight of it. See, there are some people in life who challenge weariness. They literally will face anything. They will put loads and loads and loads of things on their back and walk around with it so that they can fit themselves. And that's really what happens to us in our everyday life when we agree to something, when we say, this is what I believe that my life is supposed to do. And you start walking in that direction. Yes, you're going to experience some things that challenges you to ask you if you really are. Are you really for it? Can you do it? And so I am holding you in my heart tonight, those who are weary. And I'm praying that you will begin to see this entire experience from a new perspective, because there's nothing about this life. And I'm telling you, it's very hard, very difficult to change your mindset about how God is with you. Because when it's been drilled in you your whole life that this is how God thinks it, you've been living with the low self-esteem of it. You've been living with low self-esteem, believing that you're never going to be enough and you'll never be good enough for God, and you're so lowly and you're so awful and you're so this and that. And so it's difficult to change your mindset to, hey, he made me good. I'm made in his image. I'm able to think myself into something. I'm able to speak myself into something. If life and death is in the power of the tongue, then that means it's my power that works. If so a man thinks in his heart, thinks in his heart, so is he. Then that means I have the power to choose what I think. Many of us are weary because we have not yet changed our mindset about this whole journey. I feel joyous to continue this unfolding, to continue learning, to continue pursuing the mind of Christ so that I can think differently and put my life in the space that I need it to be and the place that God already always intended it to be. Because if he didn't, I wouldn't have the emotions. I wouldn't have the desire. I wouldn't have this unction in me to pursue it so heavily. It wouldn't be a tug of war. It's a tug of war because something that I learned at another part in my life is battling with the thing that God is trying to lead me into. And I'm looking back and saying, but God, if I do this, am I really safe? Oh God, if I do this, am I really safe from being judged or being punished or whatever? And you go through it, you got to undo it. You're weary because you're still living with the old narrative, trying to have new results. A part of why I did at first, I grieved. I told y'all I grieved my hair for about a year before I ever cut it. And God said something, started introducing the idea to me actually about 3 years ago. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do it at the beginning of the year. Okay, I'm gonna do it at the beginning of the year. And this particular year, God says it's time to do it. And he gave me a year to grieve it. But a big part of my grief was that my sisters, uh, uh, my sister and one of my sisters already transitioned, but me and we call ourselves we we just had a name for the three sisters, for Rebecca and me and Angie. And it was us getting to know each other as our father's daughters, biological daughters, because he had other children of my other siblings and their siblings. We're all connected. But it was something that we were doing when we were bonding with each other. And as a matter of fact, before Becky transitioned, a few years before that, she started growing out her hair as well. And so did my Ann, and so did Lydia. And then there was a bunch of us, and my bro pop, he had his locks, and my nieces, they had their locks. And I was like, man, I don't want to cut them. I don't want to be out of the loop anymore, because it was our bonding thing. It was one of those things. But my expectation of my desire to stay in the loop and stay connected with everybody through my locks, I had to choose between the weight of this thing that was making my head and my neck weary, spiritually releasing so many of the things that I accumulated over this time. And they not mad. Well, I've gotten messages like, everybody thinks that it's cute and everybody's like, oh, you look so much freer, like that type of stuff. So nobody's mad. But I was under the impression that it was somehow could disconnect something. So could it be that your weariness is attached to the fact that you will not allow the old mindset to die and be born again, resurrect into a new mindset? See, I'm not trying to take away anybody's idea of what it means to be saved or have salvation. What I am trying to get you to do is to look at the sequence of your life and to see if you feel that. Do you feel saved? Do you feel rescued? Do you feel heavy? Or do you feel discombobulated? Or do you feel weary? Do you feel like you've already fainted and you done? But when you begin to look at it from the perspective of the fact that God's love is unconditional and he leaves room for you to get weary, but he also sends those that can help to strengthen you in your weariness. because his love is without condition. He will help you to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, allowing you to understand that, hey, you don't need to conform to the ways of the world system. In other words, the system that operates outside of love and outside of faith. That can be inside your religious organizations, in your school, at your job, in your house. You're weary because there's so many things pulling and tugging, but the ammunition or the tools that you need, you are not accustomed to using them. So therefore, weariness is your result. But when you start to think of things through the eyes of the Christ mind, okay, love is the law. I got to cleanse my heart up, heal it, so that I can begin to walk in that way. All things are permissible for me, so I'm free, but it's not all beneficial. I got to figure out those things. And once you begin to do all of that work, you show up in a place where this smile is absolutely permanent on your face. And if you feel weary, you have the tools to understand how to deal with that. You go to the place where you are safe, where you can be refreshed and rejuvenated. That's why we're here one to another. Yeah, it's a family of locks. So could it be that you're weary because you just won't let go, you won't release? We're going to get ready to take these 3 deep breaths. And before we do that, I'm going to prophesy to Rashida and to Nadia and to Destiny. So Rashida, this year is supposed to be so productive and lucrative for you. You continue to question and to doubt certain things, and you have got to make peace and get certain. You're just over on the group conversation where we're talking about fitting somewhere. You got to get certain about where you fit. In other words, if it's in the fashion industry, let it be in the fashion industry, understanding that, hey, sometimes it just won't turn out everything like the way I think it should, but it's okay because it will be a learning experience if it doesn't. You got to take the pressure off of yourself of failing or not doing enough or not being good enough, because you're working on something. That means you are forever developing and unfolding. And there are things that you have to be able to accept, like the fact that, hey, life goes, life moves. Yeah, it moves along. And if I'm standing in one spot, I can't blame life. If I'm standing in one spot, I can't blame God. I must begin to evaluate the fullness and the authenticity of what he made me or who he made me to be, and then step into that space without regret, and then live from that place. This year is supposed to produce so much for you and be lucrative for you financially, but it can't be until you come into full agreement with, this is where I fit. And I won't be discouraged about what doesn't work out, because I know that there's something in that for me, a lesson in that for me, and it shall work in due time. But get ready, position yourself, ready yourself for the open doors, and pick your dream back up. Pick your dream back up and commit to dedicating that 100% back to your vision, back to your dream again. You are one of those individuals, and I'm going to tell you this because you got to know it. You are a builder. You are one of the ones who builds the platforms and allows other people to come. You're a connector. And if you're weary in any one of those areas, it's because your adversary is trying to convince you that you are not fit for it, but you are. So tests and trials and things like that, they will come. They will come, but you are equipped. We've been connected for a very long time, Rashida. We've been connected for a very, very long time. And when you first started, God, you started back when I was doing Wednesday night calls. We're talking about probably 10, 11, 12 plus years. And you've always been the connector. But a part of it is that when you connect, you often feel like you no longer fit in that space, but it's not true. It's time for you to put yourself back in that place and be that. Mo, I see that you jumped on here right when I'm talking about her being a connector, because you are too. Tonight, if you want to put seed in the ground, Mo, the seed is $33, or add as many zeros as you want to. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what that 33 signifies in just a bit. But Rashida, that's what you are. You are a connector. You are a builder. So you're supposed to build platforms for people to come. You're supposed to sponsor things like that. You're supposed to do it, but you have to believe in yourself in the place that you are right now so that you continue to increase. You love loving on people. You love helping your generation grow. Pick back up your dreams. Pick back up your purpose, your call. You don't need anything. You don't need anything. It's already provided. It's already provided. You simply have to just step into it. Become certain. Believe in your heart. Believe in your heart. That same power can resurrect you too in ways that you have not thought about in a very long time. We believe in the power that raised Jesus. We believe in the power that caused Lazarus to be able to come back to life. We believe in the power of every love walk agent that has ever walked this earth to tell this message, to give this story. We believe in the power of love. You must allow yourself to be loved so unconditionally by God that you are settled in the fact that you are all of these things, and there's nothing wrong with you holding all of these offices. Just trust. Trust that you're fit for it. As the doors begin to swing open, think it not strange that all of a sudden people start reaching out to you again in a way that just like, wait, what happened? Almost like what happens when you put up an advertisement and it's free and you tell everybody to jump on and they jump on because it's free. But I see you doing that. It's like you're showing up again. And it's like so many things are about to start coming at you. It's kind of like somebody promoted your name and said, because listen, your name is in the wind. It's been being promoted. There's been people talking about you for years in positive ways. And so now things will begin to be revealed. But again, you have to know, you have to be certain. I'm fit for this. I'm fit to bring people together. I'm fit to make the platforms what they need to be. I am fit to continue to design and to make it to the different places. I am not desperate for it. I am not anxious for it. I'm just here for it. Oh, Rebakataya. Sikataman soko rebaikatai. So be prepared. And yes, you. And yes, you are a brilliant businesswoman, by the way. God says tap all the way in, tap all the way in, tap all the way into your business senses. And know that there are people that surround you who are willing to walk with you as your team, but you have got to know this is what I'm here for. In other words, God told me to tell my team, hey, we got to study some things, but we need to create it to fit my rhythm. Fit the fact that I'm inspired and I don't have to move according to certain systems all the time. Now, do systems work? Absolutely. That's the reason why you have your team, because everybody fits in their space. So the stuff that you may not be 100% great at, nor do you have to be it, because if you're trying to be your authentic self, you don't need to try to learn how to be everything to in your situation. But if you have people that support you, let them support you. But it's your time to step back into it. Whatever fear, whatever disappointment, whatever rage, whatever anger, whatever resentment, Release it. Hold your head up high, put your shoulders back, and walk forward. You shall succeed, but you got to know it. And it is so. And it is so. And you are loved. You are absolutely loved. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. You are loved. Nadia. Be not weary of your process. Be not weary of your process. You shall reap if you faint not. Now, know that a lot of the work that you're doing within healing things, uncovering things, going through your coaching programs and really trying to apply yourself, it gets to be wearying because you don't see the results when you need to see them. And so we get to praying for a miracle again when God is just trying to teach us how to live so that we can live more abundantly. Oh, Rabbi. You are larger than life. And it's time for you to be okay with that, be comfortable with that. That all changes, whatever happens, is for the good. And I hear God say that you must see everything from those perspectives, even if you're tempted to think, oh my God, this is the worst, this is awful. Nope, you got to change your mind, change your mind, change your mind, and begin to see something different. Be not weary. Continue to let it ignite on the inside of you. And it is so. And it is so. You're standing up in yourself in this hour, Nadia, like never before. And I trust that before you get to the mid year, you're going to understand why you had to stay connected and committed. Yes, and it is so. You're welcome, Rashida. Oh, Destiny, 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 destiny. You are living for purpose. I hear God say to tell you, Destiny, you're not just living so you can live again in the sweet by and by. That's a byproduct. Listen, everything that we're supposed to be pursuing right now has everything to do with what we're doing right now in this realm. If you are waiting to meet Jesus in the air at some point in your life, whenever that time comes for you to transition, if that's what you're waiting for, then what about the rest of life? Do you believe that life was supposed to be miserable? Do you believe that you're supposed to just continue to suffer day after day? Do you believe that you're supposed to look at yourself as a filthy rag and that you'll never be clean enough for God? Do you believe any of these things? Because if you do, it's time for you to tear down to build up or to allow it to be done. What you receive financially has a lot to do with the anxiety and the fear to fully be. You are worthy of it all. And we talked about that car, talked about that van, and I'm like, yeah, no. I cannot, as your spiritual covering, your leader, your spiritual mom, or any whatever it is that you call me, whatever it is that you can identify with, there's no way that I'm going to sit by and let you believe more for me than you do for yourself. I absolutely appreciate it. I really do. I appreciate having those who truly have a heart for me, that wants to see the vision grow and expand, and that they will stop at nothing to make sure that that happens. They understand that that you sow where you want to go, or you sow into the place that feeds you. I get it. I get it all. And I'm happy. I'm absolutely grateful for you all. But if you believe more for me than you do for you, then it's time to again be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Why can't we all be worthy of it? Why can't we all be worthy of it? God knows that you want transportation and need transportation again. He also knows that sometimes when the money comes in, whether it's a large lump sum or not, it's so many things that need to be recovered and done. Especially when he's called you to do something that seems so unconventional to others, but you know it's a part of your call. You are worthy. There's nothing wrong with wanting the best for others. When you believe that from a pure heart, I know that God hears. But you gotta love your neighbor as yourself. That means that you love yourself. You understand that you are worthy. And now there are scriptures that tell us to exalt others above ourselves. And it's in the sense of sometimes I just gotta yield. We submit to one another in love. It doesn't mean you disown yourself. It doesn't mean that you give up on yourself. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy. You are worth that love that you desire. You are worth the love of your own. But do you believe it for yourself? God says, I'm here with you. I'm here with you. I'm walking through this journey with you, but I need you to change your mind. You don't have to boast, brag. No, just be grateful for what you know is. Everything that we need is it's literally right there in the spirit. We just got to come into agreement with it. With a pure heart, you shall see the manifestation. And it is so. And it is so. I do. I understand. I understand. I understand. I understand. Let me tell you why I understand you, Destiny, more than you think. I understand you because we've literally spent our entire lives trying to prove ourselves, whether we want to admit it or not. Prove that God did say what he said to us. Prove that we are sufficient and adequate. Prove that we are good enough parents because we don't do things the way other people do things. Prove to everybody that we got their back. Prove even to our leaders. We get accustomed to proving a point to our leaders sometimes because we feel like we have to earn a spot. We don't have to earn a spot from nobody. We are loved without condition. There is no point to prove. But we must live by faith if we want to be pleasing. Everything else has been duty. Everything else has been, oh, we're trying to put this in place and put that in place. We got to make it look like this and we got to make it look like, no, this is not, this life is not supposed to be about bondage. And we have ourselves held captive. So we got to do this. If you're ready, just keep putting I'm ready. Write it 7 times. I'm ready. 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 And shut the mouth of everything that's screaming nay in your head. That's screaming nah. You can't. You won't. Change it. Shift it. Because others are definitely worthy of having us to be in their life, and we're worthy of having them in our life. We exchange our strengths in this earth. That's why love needs to be our governing force, so that we can exchange our strengths, do what we need to do. I'm not trying to break you. You ain't trying to break me. We're coming together, but there's nothing else to prove. You just got to get where you fit, and you got to live it out and work it. Change your mind. You are worth it. You are worth it. And it is so. Shetaman Sokorabai. Mo, you sowed your seed. Where'd you sow your seed to, sweetheart? Check and make sure that it went through on your end. But I pray right now for you, Monique. I pray that you have finally begin to realize just how worthy you are. Do you know your worth? Do you know your worth? Do you know your value? Are you weary? Mokorebaishataya. It's so easy for us to begin to see ourselves from a negative perspective because other people have spoken it, said it, because someone else has made us feel as if we are not relevant. How do you see you? And I see it. I see your seed. It's time for you at this point in your life to make a decision, Monique. God wants you to make a decision. Will I serve my limited perspective based on what other people have said about me, or will I continue to work on knowing me? The anxiety and the fear of coming into your own feeling as if you must suffer through things in order to prove your love. Listen to me. Suffering will come just in everyday relationships, right? Learning other people, because disappointment comes, feelings of betrayal, and all these different things come. And Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. He understood to detach himself. In other words, not allowing what others do to cause him to suffer. He made peace even with death unto the cross or until the tree, the crucifixion. They can do stuff to my body, but they can't do anything to my soul. So he loved us. He loved those that he was with. But he had to keep himself detached in some way in his heart, not entrusting his heart to those that he knew could destroy it. But it did not stop him from operating and doing everything that he needed to do in an attempt to love them. He still loved them, still healed, still used the powers that he was given to be able to do the work of God in the earth, which we all are supposed to do in our own way when we recognize our strength, right? It doesn't mean being selfish or none of those things. Do you believe that you are worthy of a life that does not include everyday sorrow or pain? Owning yourself, but not just on the outward, not just by showing up in the physical, but when you're at home, it's nobody there but you. What do you feel? What are you thinking? We get to choose what we do in this life. We get to choose what we tolerate, what we don't, and that goes for any situation, any relationship, any partnership, any place where you are pouring yourself out. In whatever area that you're weary, your heart is weary, and you're trying not to let it be. But I hold you in my heart tonight, and I pray. I pray for you. I pray for strength. This is kind of what I see, not kind of, but this is what I see. I literally see, and I don't know if y'all know what I mean, but there's a time where you can be super, super, super excited about something, have a lot of zealousness going on, and you're like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, and you do really good at it for like a month, maybe. Some people maybe 2 weeks, some people a few days, some people you can even go a few months, and then all of a sudden you start getting weary about it because it's not showing the results that you want. But I'm here to say, detach yourself from the fear that it won't work, the fear that you won't get ahead, the fear that it won't turn out right. But hold in your heart, not any particular person, No picture, no face, no none of those things. But hold in your heart what it is that you desire to see for your life, and then begin to yield yourself to it. And trust that it's going to take some time, and it's going to take you finding your own pace and all of that. Do not push yourself or force yourself into something that does not fit your narrative. You are worthy of being loved and respected. There's so many things that you have to divorce in your heart and your mind in this season, Mo. But it's because you don't want to experience the pain that comes along with certain things, and you don't have to. If you believe that God has told you something, I am not one to argue the point with nobody. But I will say, if it is for you, and if it is God induced, then there should be some peace in that decision somewhere. Whatever it is. Take heart. And in your weariness of heart right now, I pray for your strength, that you don't give up on the fact that there is something greater. There's an expected end for you, and it's not to harm you. And it is so. And it is so. And it is so. This number 33, it signifies, and these are the words that I hear. Jump up and run. Jump up and run. I feel such a strong burst of energy as you resurrect today out of this weary place. You're going to be able to jump. You're going to be able to run with it, run with your vision, run with your idea, run with this relationship. Whoever needs the confirmation about this relationship, there's somebody struggling about your relationship right now. If you do not have peace, if you see all these red flags and you're trying to ignore them because you're trying to live up to some type of idea that you had about life and love and all that, if you are subjecting yourself to pain, I need you to evaluate all these different things. The answer is not difficult. It's just that you don't want to give it up. I remember not wanting to pray about certain relationships because I didn't want God to tell me that it wasn't right, that it wasn't the one. I'm talking about not just romantic, y'all. This ain't just about romantic relationships. But I would be afraid to pray, or I would pray a certain type of way because you get tired of the disappointment and you don't want to have to keep starting over, and you don't want to have to find new friends, and you don't want to have to do all these things. But you have to ask the question in order for the peace to come. Acknowledging the great I am in all of your ways. It's personal. We so busy trying to scope out everybody else's ways and their thoughts and their ideas and their practices and all that we're missing the fact that we need to do so for ourselves. It's time. So if it does not bring you peace, then you need to go back to God and ask again. But be reminded that you get to choose. Because you must do it by faith, not by fear, not by anxiety, not by sight, but by faith, through love. Whew. So jump up and run. This is the hour and the moment when we go into this time of breathing, and when we end this tonight, inside your spirit, inside your soul should be something that's kicking up within. No more weariness. You are strengthened. Now jump up and run. Run with what? Run with the relationship. If it brings you peace. If you got to ask all those many questions, you might want to reevaluate. Trust your instincts. If something in you is telling you to run away, run away. But as you jump up and run right now, you're running with the thing that is the most positive for your life. It feels good. It feels great. It feels peaceful. You believe that God has orchestrated this thing. Jump up. Whew. Like there's fire under your feet, like you just ready to get it in. Can't be still, but not out of force, out of faith and faith alone. You've been writing, you've been talking to yourself, you've been doing some of this work, but it's time to invest within yourself in a deeper way. Jump up and run with the thought, run with the process, run with everything that you need to do in order to get to where it is that you're trying to get. You have the strength, you have the power. This number 33 is telling you that you have the strength and the power to endure and to make it through. Your flesh don't make you wicked. It can think wicked things. It can do wicked things. Because you got some root causes in there, some things that could totally mess you up. But you can be free. Jump up and shake off the shackles. Jump up and shake off the burial garments. Jump up. Take off anything that will restrict your run. Because it's time for you to be full speed ahead in your life, in your healing, in your wholeness. And though many will not understand, you still treat them the way you want to be treated and understand where their reservations may come from because you've had your own. But it is well. And it is so. We're getting ready to take our 3 deep breaths so that we can breathe in all that is love and light and peace and joy, and breathe out anything that will restrict us from getting up and running, jumping up and running, popping up and running. You are not limited. There's all possibilities surrounding you. So breathe out anything that will restrict that. When we get to that 3rd deep breath, we hold that at the apex and we hold it so we're reminded of the breath that we breathe. When circulation or when air is cut off, that's devastating. When you feel like you can't breathe and it's hard to breathe, that's devastating. But the breath of life runs right through you. So we're going to be grateful for that. Weariness is no longer your portion. Get your strength. Take that first deep breath in. You're breathing out anything that will keep you weary, anything that will keep you oppressed, anything that will keep you in the same mindset that has been crippling you. Take that second deep breath in. Yes, let your faith awaken. What do you believe? What makes sense to you? What resonates with you? You can live it without being strained. And you hold this breath and you hold this love. You breathe out, do so very slowly, and simply say at the end, I have the strength to jump up and run. Weary is not my portion anymore. Hallelujah. I have the strength to jump up and run. Let's take that third deep breath in. I have strength to jump up and run with the vision, with the relationship, with the love, with the open doors. I'm just ready. I have the strength. I am not weary in my well doing. I'm not weary in building my business. I'm not weary in doing what God has asked me to do. I am here for it, and I am strengthened to jump up and run. And I shall have peace throughout, because this is where I fit. Ah, Remando. Sentama sikio robokoto. Shela mandio koso rebaikata. Yamaso rebai. Mashokore. 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 There's peace when I say yes. There's joy when I say yes. Whew. It is my prayer tonight that all the weariness begins to lift. You begin to find a sudden burst of energy that means that you can jump up and run. Your jump up and run may not be of a physical nature, or it might be. You may choose to run around your house in victory, but it is a spiritual jump up and run. That means that you're now in a place where you're not going to allow anything to make you feel crippled or burdened. You're only seeking the peace of God, and you're living in it. So you're able to jump up and run with whatever it is that you feel pressing upon you, because you are loved. Because you are loved. Oh, Rebaikata. Oh, Remandioso. I bless you tonight. 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 For all of you Love Walk partners, that means those of you who have sown, whether it be monthly or whether it be one time, you are invited to join me for 21 days of forgiveness. 21 days to, let me say 21 days, no, of forgiveness, because you're going to be working through each step every day. When I begin this, starting on Wednesday, when I start sending out the emails to the Love Walk account on Coffee, that means you have to look out in your inbox. Okay. But this 21 days is for those of you who are tired of holding on to the pain of the past, the traumas of the past. You're tired. Yes, Jayana. You're tired. You're tired of holding on. This is where you're weary. You're weary and trying to hold on to everybody that you dislike or everybody that's hurt you, because you're trying to figure out whether they come in, and you're looking over your shoulder and you're looking for people that look like them. So you're screaming about all the triggers, and there's so many things happening. How, oh, how do you really want to be free? If you do, then you'll take the steps seriously and you'll work them and you'll walk through the things that I'm saying in each one of them. If I send you something that is written, you're going to read all the way through it. You're going to embody it. You're going to journal about it. You're going to invest yourself into this time. You love walking? You pressing up? You healing your soul so that your spirit can be liberated? If you doing that, then it's time to go ahead and get to this work. Love Walk Outreach Global presents this 21 days of forgiveness. So if you've already sown, of course, you will have access. You will get the messages when I send them out. But if you click on that link, be sure that you're ready to do this work. If you're tired of holding on to it all, you're not going to be upset about this repetitive thing. So be ready, be there for it. I'm going to put up a flyer. I'm going to put up the link. And when you see it online, please do share it with others that may want to join us. There's plenty of people who may want to start just really live in this process of forgiveness because they don't want to hold on to things anymore. It just hurts so bad. But the first thing is to remember that it is not happening to you right now. It is not happening in this very moment. But it's time to be free. It's time to be free. So I love you so much just because I can. And we will talk again tomorrow. Many blessings.